Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. My name is Jesse Legg. I'm the Director of IT for AASHE. We're very excited to have business leader level AASHE member Waste Management and campus member Spelman College joining us today. They will be co-presenting a webinar entitled Incorporating Sustainability into Campus Strategic Planning. This is one of a series of webinars AASHE has planned for 2014. If you're interested in the full webinar and workshop schedule for this year, please visit our website, aashe.org, and click on the Events tab. A couple of quick housekeeping notes. First, today's webinar will be recorded and available in the Events section of our website within the next couple of days. And second, there will be a question and answer portion for today's presentation. In order to ask a question, please use the question box on your GoToWebinar control panel. We will attempt to answer as many questions as possible, but we do have a very large audience today and a limited amount of time for questions, so we'll do our best to get to them. Now I'd like to introduce today's webinar presenters. Karen Stiles is the Business Development Manager at Waste Management, which has been an AASHE business leader since 2011. Karen's 20-plus years of business management experience enhances her role as a corporate strategist, helping organizations integrate sustainable practices into their ongoing operations, resulting in increased productivity, market share, and customer satisfaction. She has worked with Waste Management's higher education team for the past 4 years. She is adept at applying proven practices to new markets, identifying unique solutions for current challenges, and demystifying applied sustainability. Karen is a frequent speaker on the topic and serves as a subject matter expert for numerous publications. She holds a BS degree in education and mathematics, an MS degree in administration, and additional postgraduate studies in testing and measurement. Art Frazier is the director of Spelman College's Facilities Management and Services Department. Over the past 9 years, he has led an organizational transformation that commenced with a new vision and mission and a change in leadership style and philosophy. In addition to his primary responsibility of operating a 39-acre campus and managing a staff of over 60 employees, Art is responsible for all of Spelman's non-curricular sustainability initiatives and serves as co-chair of the Sustainable Spelman Committee. Art has been very instrumental in establishing Spelman as a leader in sustainability among historically black colleges. Prior to joining Spelman College, Art worked in the architecture field for more than 25 years on numerous award-winning commercial and institutional projects, including Underground Atlanta and the Aaron Diamond AIDS Research Center in New York City. Art has a bachelor's degree in the design of the environment and a master's in architecture, both from the University of Pennsylvania, and he is a registered architect. It's my pleasure to welcome Karen and Art to today's webinar. Karen?
Thank you, Jesse, and thanks to all of you who are attending us virtually. I wanted to share with you a quote from the CEO and President of Waste Management, David Steiner, to just kind of set the tone for today. Our company has a goal to help ensure that we pass on the planet to the next generation in better shape than we inherited it. Now that's a lofty goal and we can't do it alone, but we hope to set an example for others to follow. And our belief is that the future generation, those of you who are in higher education, are the real partners that we have in moving forward with this endeavor. The next thing I wanted to share with you is what we call our sustainability continuum. You know, sustainability is not, as I like to say, it's not a revolution, it's an evolution. And so everybody is somewhere on this sustainability journey. Every organization fits somewhere on this continuum. Nobody fits neatly into one box. People typically, or organizations typically, have a little bit of one and a little bit of another. But everybody starts down at the bottom with the light green, and quite frankly, that's where the majority of the United States exists at the moment. I like to believe that higher education is a little bit further along than the rest of the country, but nonetheless, light green is where the majority of the country exists. As we move further up the continuum, you can see that we move from things that are project or team-oriented to things that are more organizationally oriented. So, for example, in the green, one example of being at a green level would be to have an official sustainability statement. As we move beyond the green, that's when the transition becomes much more difficult. Going from green to dark green, and that's really what we're talking about today, is when sustainability becomes part of the DNA of the organization. And we get into strategic planning and those kinds of things. But we move again from the individual or the student organization, or even in the area of higher education, sustainability may have resided within, for example, the engineering department within a particular university. And that's how they made their name in sustainability. But to become a truly sustainable organization, we've got to move beyond the green and beyond the silo or the compartment within the university and get into part of the DNA of the organization. And that's the big jump from green to dark green. And then blue thinking, and this is very evolutionary, is we're actually leaving things not the same as we found them, but even better than we found them. And in the world as a whole, there's probably just a few organizations that are at this level. So again, it's something for us to strive for in our evolution, but we're really moving again from the light green to the green, and in today's conversation, going from the green to the dark green. Now, in the past, as I alluded to, a lot of the campus sustainability has been driven from the bottom up. Again, either student-led or department-led. And that has changed, I would say, in the past 5 to 8 years. With the President's climate commitment in 2006, we started to see more and more top leadership embracing sustainability as a priority. And so now we see sustainability taking a place at the table for the organization. So again, in the past, if we look at the left-hand side of this graph here, these are things that have traditionally been a part of strategic planning: the student experience, faculty reputation, research capability, academic integrity, and athletics. And so as time has gone on, now commitment to sustainability has become a part of the overall strategic plan of some organizations. And again, as everybody moves up that continuum, more and more of those organizations. What you're looking at here is a tool that Waste Management has developed to help you and your college or university look at some of the areas of campus where you can make a difference as far as sustainability is concerned. We're not live here as far as this graph is concerned, but if you go to wm.com/map, this is an interactive tool that will allow you to, you can either hover on different parts of the campus, and you can see we've called out the most common parts of campuses, whether it's athletic fields or administration. Many have hospitals on their campuses, student housing, etc. And you can hover over those parts of the map, and it will show you examples of diversion potentials on those areas. It will describe them a little bit further. You also have the ability up on the top here to go across this continuum on the top here. And again, if you hover over things, for example, this one would be a waste stream assessment. And you can see this is also color-coded so that it's similar to the sustainability continuum. So a waste stream assessment might be something that would be done as you're moving from the light green to the green. And so if this map were live and you hovered over it, you get some information about a waste assessment and also what parts of campus a waste assessment might be done. Another one here is a zero waste event. What would it be like to have a zero waste commencement event? So again, some examples of what zero waste events might be and where those might happen on campus. And then further down here, we've got long-term strategic planning. So again, this is a tool for you to use with your organization to have another conversation about sustainability and strategic planning. So we started out with the Sustainability Continuum, which is a great opportunity for the organization from different stakeholders within the organization to sit down, look at one common tool for having a conversation that will run across the silos of the organization. This is another tool that can assist in having those conversations as well. And I think we'll turn it over next to Art to talk about a specific example.
Great. Thank you, Karen. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. At Spelman, we have news for you. The headlines that you see on the screen are from opening convocation speeches that our president has given over the years. Dr. Beverly Daniel Tatum provides great leadership to the college and great vision toward our sustainability efforts. And in these 4 opening convocation speeches, which were not all specifically about sustainability, she wove sustainability into the message that she delivered to our first-year students in August when they arrived on campus. Spelman College is a historically black college in Atlanta, Georgia, just west of downtown Atlanta. Founded in 1881, we've been on this location since about 1885. And our mission really focuses on a commitment to making positive social change. In 2006, Dr. Tatum opened the semester telling students that a building we were just breaking ground on would be built as a green building. And like our founders, Ms. Packard and Giles, we would build this building for the next 100 years and pay attention to our environmental impact and educate our community to pay attention as well. The Suites Residence Hall was the building she was speaking of, which opened in 2008. Ended up achieving LEED Silver certification. It houses 303 students in suite-style apartments. Also has 100 parking spaces beneath the building. Includes a 175-seat dining hall. And you can see our scorecard there on the right. We were able to achieve 34 LEED points. We were able to recycle 79% of the construction waste. One of the areas that we focus on, particularly in our residential buildings, is the indoor environmental quality. Since we have students residing in these buildings 24 hours a day, we find that is very important. We're seeing more and more students that have asthma and other ailments that are very susceptible to indoor pollution. And here is Dr. Tatum receiving the LEED Silver plaque at the certification ceremony. In 2007, she opened the semester with a speech called Choice to Change the World. And she was talking to our incoming students about their 4 years at Spelman and how when they leave here that they can make a choice to change the world. She also talked to us about choices each and every one of us make every day and the impact of our environment, and that we all needed to understand that impact and seek to reduce it is a choice that all of us can make every day. And that became our tagline here at Spelman College. Following that speech, we changed a lot about our approaches to maintenance and operations here on campus. We incorporated principles of LEED for existing building and operation and maintenance into our operation policies for all of our buildings here on campus. We commenced being more green with our landscaping and a green housekeeping program. that fall, we also commenced a strategic planning process and conducted a focus group specifically about sustainability as we began that process in the fall of 2007. We have a number of historic buildings here on campus. We have about 25 buildings. Over half of them are over 50 years old. So sustaining our history and traditions and those historic buildings on campus is very important to us. You'll see at the bottom right, Rockefeller Hall, the original permanent building on campus, originally constructed in 1886 and renovated completely in 2007. While this was not a LEED renovation, it had numerous HVAC systems that ran continuously, and now it has one system that maintains comfort in the building and has night setbacks and is far more efficient than prior to renovation. At the end of the strategic planning process, we had a number of points in our strategic plan that address sustainability. In the Center for Green Schools Roadmap to a Green Campus, there is a campus profile on our college that talks about our efforts to incorporate long-term planning for sustainability into our strategic plan. We talk a lot about acronyms here on campus, and each staff and administrator has a goal, and the goals for staff and administrators are on the screen, and the G for us is having a global perspective by working toward a greener campus. And the purpose of that is to enhance the experience on campus for all of our constituents and to serve as a model academic institution for other small liberal arts colleges and to affect positive social change. We developed 3 approaches to sustainability as part of our strategic plan. We had goals for incorporating it into the curriculum under scholarship, making changes to our infrastructure so that it is more efficient under infrastructure, and towards society, that we educate our staff, faculty, alumni, and the community at large about what we're doing and the importance of being good global citizens of the environment. One of the initiatives that we were taking at that time was with our science building, which is one of our largest buildings on campus, the largest user of water and the largest user of electricity. We were fortunate to receive a grant through a program known Grants to Green that conducted an assessment of this facility and identified a number of ways of reducing the utility use. Chief among those was a recommissioning of the HVAC and control system that we executed and is saving us well over $50,000 a year in operating that building. At the start of the 2010 semester, Dr. Tatum gave a key speech, Sustainable Spelman. She not only talked about environmental sustainability, but she also talked about personal and communal sustainability. In talking about environmental, she announced that she was signing the American College and University President's Climate Commitment. With respect to personal sustainability, she talked to the students about making sure as they strive for excellence in their 4th-year pursuit of a degree at Spelman that they respect themselves and demonstrate self-care to maintain their health and wellness while they are making that pursuit. And then communal, she talked about sustaining our Spelman brand for excellence and how each of us is a representative of Spelman and keeping in mind how that reflects on our brand, our continued ability to attract the best and brightest young black women to come study here and to attract donors to donate to our college. Those 3 initiatives have grown and involved into our Spelman College Climate Action Plan that we completed in January of 2013 that outlines our approaches for environmental sustainability. What we call the Spelman Wellness Revolution focuses on the personal sustainability, and our standards of excellence, the Spelman Way and the 3 C's, focus on our communal sustainability and sustaining the Spelman brand. Following her signing the President's climate commitment, we reconvened the focus group that worked on the strategic plan and created a Sustainable Spelman Committee. And we developed this vision statement that really focuses on practicing sustainability as a way of life on the Spelman campus. As I mentioned earlier, we released our Climate Action Plan in January of 2013. And that plan addresses sustainability in four key areas: educational, campus emissions, mitigation strategies to achieve our emissions goals, and our community outreach efforts to continue to share with the community what we are doing with sustainability. Under educational, we are focused on incorporating sustainability across the curriculum and graduating women who embody all 3 dimensions of sustainable Spelman. We have 2 goals for campus emissions: reducing our greenhouse gas inventory by 50% by the 150th anniversary of the college in 2031, and reducing it by 100% by 2056. Our Climate Action Plan identifies a number of targets, a number of strategies for achieving those reductions within it, and a plan for continued involvement in the community in collaboration with our Bonner Office of Community Service in reaching out to the community and educating folks around the Atlanta University Center more about sustainability. And our efforts on the academic side are not just in the sciences. This is a poster from an English class last semester, a marketing class that focused on communicating sustainability messages. We also have a few art classes that focus on reusing materials and converting them into artwork. We've incorporated sustainability into our new student orientation program for the last 4 years and really focus on educating our new students on what it means to practice sustainability as a way of life during their stay here at Spelman. We've also expanded that into our first-year experience program and have participated in a number of sessions where we have taught this year, focusing primarily on water and educating them of the sustainability issues related to water, particularly here in the Atlanta area where we've suffered numerous droughts and have the highest water rates in the country. We initially submitted our greenhouse gas inventory to the President's climate commitment in January of 2012, and just this past January we added the last 2 years. You can see that we have already made a reduction of 23% in our baseline emissions from 2009. On the screen you can see areas that we've identified as the major components of our greenhouse gas inventory. The biggest portion is our Scope 2 emissions. Air conditioning consists of 36% of those Scope 2 emissions. So we've been focusing on making our air conditioning systems as efficient as possible, and where we can, having setbacks for unoccupied periods of time. We've also been concentrating quite a bit on lighting, making sure it is on only where needed, when needed. Okay, in the summer of 2012, Dr. Tatum had the opportunity to travel to the London Olympics, and a Spelman alum who was a host had an opportunity to meet Gabby Douglas and her mother. And following that meeting, this story hit Twitter and Facebook and was reported across the country by that reputable news agency TMZ, reporting that Gabby was being recruited, that Dr. Tatum had expressly flown to London to recruit Gabby Douglas. And she capitalized on that. That was nowhere near the truth. She just seized the opportunity to send a message to Gabby Douglas about her drive and discipline that she displayed in achieving her pursuit for a gold medal, and that if she was to be successful at Spelman, it would take a similar drive and discipline. And she said that same message to our incoming first-year students, that they too needed drive and discipline to go for their own personal goals and give their personal and collective best to achieve their goals here as Spelman women. She went further to talk about our own efforts to go for the gold here on campus. In this case, she was referring to our newly renovated Laura Spelman Hall, where we went for lead gold. And she went on to say that we would need to continue going for the gold in the future campus projects we would be undertaking. Laura Spelman Rockefeller Hall was erected on this campus in 1918 and was designed by a very significant Georgia architect, Hence Adler and Reed. It is on the east side of our campus, and it's named after Laura Spelman, who was the wife of John Rockefeller, who was an early benefactor of the college. These are some pictures from it throughout time, and this is a picture shortly after it was originally constructed. And you can see here that we were able to achieve LEED Gold. We made great efforts with diverting construction waste from a landfill, and were able to recycle 99.7% of the construction waste. We were using 30% less energy in this building and 47% less water. You'll see a number of before and after images on the screen. This is immediately before construction. You'll notice here we have 1/1 single pane aluminum frame windows. Those were replaced with divided light windows to match the original construction that are insulated glass windows with a low E coating. This is a multi-purpose room prior to renovation. Immediately prior to renovation, the lower level of this facility was a child care center. And this is now the renovated multi-purpose room. The lower level is now used by our students as a place to study. A number of our commuter students spend a lot of time there between classes. This was the main core of the building. You'll see for the kids, we had the children, the nursery children, we had a primary color puzzle piece floor. And now this is the new corridor. This is home to our Social Justice Fellows program, and this mural depicts the history of women of color involved in social justice activities, not only here on Spelman, but all across the country. This is a laboratory prior to renovation, and this is the post-renovation restroom. Also made numerous improvements outside the building. This was the roadway in front of the building, which previously was 18 feet wide, along with a 5-foot sidewalk. replaced that with a 12-foot wide walkway and closed off this side of the campus to regular vehicular traffic. We opened it up for move in and move out. And it also reduced the impervious area and helped with water runoff in this area of campus. And there's Dr. Tatum receiving the LEED Gold plaque. Another thing we did to help with water runoff is we installed two 6-foot diameter, 200-foot long pipes in the ground that hold over about 60,000 gallons of water. And that water is tied to a pump and used to irrigate the lawns on our main campus quad. We also focused on installing the greenscape around the building using native plants and grasses that don't require as much water. The fixtures inside the building are all low flow and use 40% less than typical fixtures. We applied spray foam insulation all around the interior shell of the building. That, in conjunction with our insulated windows and efficient HVAC systems, helped us achieve 12 points for optimizing energy and reducing energy use by more than 30% over code minimums. You'll see here the importance of recycling of construction waste. Typically, that is one of the biggest waste streams, and so we took great efforts to make sure that we did not continue to contribute to that. Okay, now we are focused on our wellness revolution. In the fall of 2012, the President announced that Spelman would be dropping intercollegiate athletics and using the well over $1 million that was being used to subsidize intercollegiate athletics here on campus. That about 80 of our over 2,000 students were participating. She decided to use those same funds for a wellness program that focused on the health and wellness of all 2,000 Spelman students. And you see we've gotten a number of headlines for that efforts, including New York Times and BBC. There have also been numerous television interviews and broadcasts about this initiative. And just this week, we have put up a construction fence and began abatement and demolition of the existing Reed Hall to create this new facility that will support fitness and wellness here on Spelman's campus. You see, our motto for the Wellness Revolution is for our students to eat better, move more, and sleep well. And that fits in with our personal sustainability initiatives. We anticipate that this time next year we will be opening a new facility where we can practice those personal sustainability features in a new Reed Hall facility. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Art and Karen. Now is the portion of the webinar where we can get into the question and answer. For everybody that's attending, you can ask a question using the question box on your GoToMeeting control panel. Looks like we've had a few come in already. Why don't we start with this one? I think it's for Art. Art, did you receive any pushback from other stakeholders, such as the faculty, Board of Regents, et cetera, when you added sustainability to your campus strategic plan? How did you win them over?
No, we really didn't get pushback. Our initial focus group included the majority of the stakeholders. The call for the focus group was to have 5 students, 5 staff members, and 5 faculty members that represented their constituents. And we strategized about sustainability. There were similar focus groups, of faculty, alumni, community members, and staff members that were convened as part of that strategic planning process. We also made numerous presentations to our trustees who, after Dr. Tatum signed the President's climate commitment, actually passed a resolution that all of our future new and renovation projects on campus would be built to LEED Silver standards at a minimum. And they have stayed true to that in discussing future projects that we've taken since that resolution was passed in the fall of 2010.
Great. I see a lot of questions, people asking about the presentation itself. It will be, it is being recorded and will be posted in the next couple of days. So we'll have, we can send out a link to the presentation materials after the session is over in the next day or two. The next question, I think probably also for Art. I see you mentioned an increase in collaboration across the university units. What initiated this and what sustains this?
I'm not too sure the specifics of that collaboration, but as I say, our not only that focus group, but our Sustainable Spelman committee is representative of all the administration divisions of the college. Includes students and includes faculty representation from across the campus. As sustainability is broad and far-reaching, it requires such collaboration to make it work.
Great. I think the next question is for Karen. On the sustainability continuum, you showed long-term strategic planning in the blue thinking box. Is that something waste management helps get involved with?
Yes, we certainly do. As Art has been talking about the focus group, that is an area where we can come onto a campus and help facilitate some of these conversations, break down some of the silos if they exist, and help some of the collaboration efforts. So we can also work with, you know, depending, again, where the organization is on the continuum, if there are some studies that need to be done as far as benchmarking is concerned, we can provide not only those studies, but then recommendations for taking that information and, again, moving up that continuum so that that information can be used to become part of the strategic planning.
Great. We have a lot of questions coming in. I think this one's kind of more of a technical one, but it would be for Art. What are maintaining control of temperatures in residence hall rooms? Do you have individual controls?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Sure. The question was, what is maintaining control of temperatures in residence hall rooms, and do you have individual controls?
We have thermostats in, it varies from building to building, but in our two newest residence halls, the Suites and Laura Spelman, there are thermostats and they are set at specific ranges. I believe there's about a 8-degree range that the occupant can adjust between, and it's all tied into a remote digital control system that maintains temperatures within the building.
Great. A lot of questions coming in. We'll try to get to as many as we can. This next one is about, the question is maybe for both Karen and Art, how do you sell paying more now for projects that will be profitable in the long term? Maybe by sell, I think they mean achieve buy-in.
Well, you got to demonstrate the payback. A number of the projects that we've done have a less than a 2-year payback. and we were able to do some of them just through our maintenance and operation budgets, and some of them we've gotten grant funding for. Particularly on the water side, where water rates are so high here in Atlanta. We find it's very important to execute these, not only to be green, but to be good stewards of our financial resources and make our buildings more efficient and less costly to operate.
Some of the projects that we've provided to organizations is to, or some of the studies, is to look at potential projects to improve sustainability, and then look at the budgets that already exist for maintenance and repairs and capital improvements, and then prioritize those sustainability efforts using the existing funds, but making sure, again, that we're using those funds to not only do renovations or capital projects, but do projects that do further the sustainability efforts of the organization. And I know that there are some universities as well that have established revolving funds for sustainability, so they would make the investment, for example, like Spelman did on renovating the HVAC system and having the savings that they did, and then those savings actually go into this revolving fund, which is then used to fund future endeavors. So that's another option as well.
Great. I think we have another question for Art. The question is, I may have missed this, but does Spelman have a sustainability coordinator and or a sustainability office? And if yes, how did you get the position approved and funded? If not, why not?
That would be me. No, we don't have a separate sustainability office or a sustainability coordinator. Probably 5 years ago now, my job description was modified to add responsibility for all non-curricular sustainability. I do get some support from other members of my staff, as well as 4 Sustainable Spelman student interns that we've hired to help us, particularly with student-focused initiatives. I use them to communicate to their peers and craft messages in such a manner that speaks to 18 to 22-year-old women. I joke with them all the time. I have a daughter who's 23, so when I say something, they hear Daddy saying it, and it's much more powerful when the students themselves are delivering that message to their peers. We've also utilized students to help us develop signage in Laura Spelman Residence Hall that describes the green features of the building. Instead of using the technical language of LEED, we explain the technical features to them and help them come up with language that would convey it to their classmates.
Great. The next question, I think, is another kind of dual question for Karen and Art. It's 2 parts. Does Spelman have a composting program associated with food service operations? And does Waste Management have any recommendations in this area?
Yes, for about the past 2 years, we have been composting from our kitchens. And we are about ready to expand that to do some event composting around campus as we head into what we call our season of celebration. Next week we celebrate Founders Day, and the following month a series of major events here with reunion and commencement. And we are venturing to make those I doubt seriously we'll get to the zero waste level on this first pass, but we are trying to make sure that we capture that food waste at these events as well.
Food waste is a really hot topic on campuses. Unfortunately, dealing with food waste and organics is a regional solution. At this point, there are some areas of the country that are a little bit further along in the infrastructure of providing those services, but universities and colleges have been very creative in doing their own things on campus. We have some schools that we work with that have agricultural arms to them, and so those are perfect candidates for, again, doing their own composting. There are also a number of mechanical solutions out there that are now available to, again, for certain applications for food composting. So unfortunately, it's not a one-size-fits-all, but it's an area where every year there are more and more solutions that are available. And again, the infrastructure for composting on a larger basis, on a commercial basis, is really growing around the country, and Waste Management has a very aggressive program for providing more facilities that can take that material off of the campus, like single-stream recycling, and then provide, actually in Florida, where we're actually now reselling the composting, and so it's made a complete cycle that some of the areas where we're taking the materials, the food waste for composting, then we're now able to package that and sell it in, for example, some of the Whole Foods. So again, that infrastructure is growing, but there are great options that exist otherwise, and universities and college campuses are really creative in putting programs in place for those facilities because they are large producers of organic waste.
I think the next question is related. It's also for Karen. Can you speak to how recyclables are treated on the commodities market? And a follow-up, would it be possible for a campus to develop its own ability to sell on the recyclable commodities market?
Great question. The recyclable commodities market is really a moving target and has become much tougher in the recent past. I'm sure most of you have heard about the green fence and the issues that are related to that. In the past, there's been a fairly large percentage of contamination that's been acceptable, and I say fairly large, relatively large, but 10, 12%. And now the pushback is that loads that contain more than 5% in certain cases of contamination are not acceptable. And when it comes to a university providing its own selling to the commodities market, the more you have, the more attractive it is. The smaller your different waste streams are, the longer it's going to take you to create enough of a waste stream for it to be attractive to somebody who might buy it. So those are all things to consider. That's not to say that you can't sell, for example, certain metals and those kinds of things. But what we've found is that it's important to take a larger view of how the campus wants to approach that. Yes, money received as a rebate for the commodity, it has some value, but oftentimes the infrastructure that's required for the university to collect and separate and hold and bale and then haul it somewhere, is the cost for that is greater than the rebate that comes back. And so the thinking has to be $1 saved in this area and $1 received in this area, and that's where we go to the silos in the universities, that they're often different budgets. So somebody who's receiving the rebate may not be the same person who has the budget, or the same department that has the budget that doesn't get expended if that infrastructure is dissolved and gotten rid of that handles those commodities. And nowadays there's so much pressure on universities that we found that oftentimes it's very attractive to be able to release some of those personnel that have been committed to these kinds of collection processes and allow them to be used in other parts of the campus, again, because there's budget constraints to hire new people. Well, we've got some people on campus that can be repurposed, so to speak, and better used in other parts of the campus. So it's not a simple answer, but it certainly does warrant some conversation that has to rise above the budgetary level of individual departments and become part of the strategic plan, which is what we're talking about here.
Great. About halfway through all the questions. We have roughly 10 minutes left in our time today, so I'm going to try to do our best to get through all of them. I do see a couple of themes coming out. One for art, if you could just talk briefly about the curriculum. Is that part of the strategic planning, and how does that play into your sustainability plans? Do you have anything to say about that?
Well, yes, I can talk a little bit about that, but keep in mind my responsibility is all non-curricular. I have a faculty person who serves as my co-chair, who is quite wonderful, Dr. Fatima Shafi, who with other faculty members have been focusing on our efforts to incorporate sustainability across the curriculum, as well as the first year experience program that I spoke of. She has been working on with our academic deans on us presenting sustainability concepts to the first year students. So as I said in the presentation, it's happening in a number of areas, certainly in our environmental studies program, but also in sociology and English and art and other programs where they are exploring sustainability issues as well. I leave them to make that side of the effort and focus more on the infrastructure components myself. But our climate action plan has a very lengthy section on our educational and curriculum initiatives as well. And that is available on the Sustainable Spelman website, as well as on the American Climate College and University President's Climate Commitment reporting site.
Great. A few more questions. I think this next one's also for Art. What has been your biggest challenge so far in trying to make sustainability a way of life on the Spelman campus? The whole notion of student personal accountability is so intriguing. What's next on that front?
Biggest challenge is we get 500 to 600 new students every year, and have to start training them on what sustainability as a way of life is at Spelman. And it's more than just one day. It's constant, continuing those messages consistently throughout the school year. I'd say our biggest challenges with the students is just consistency, making sure that they're putting recycling into recycling bins and trash into trash bins, and in terms of the way they're using our buildings, and whether they're leaving doors open and lights on and things like that, helping them understand the impact of their actions when those things occur. So it's a constant educational and monitoring process.
I'd like to add to that as well. I've seen on some campuses as well that there are very active student groups and student programs, and as Art alluded to, every year you have the seniors graduating and you have the freshmen coming in. So the flip side of the freshmen coming in is the seniors graduating, and programs that they put into place and that they've been very passionate about. Oftentimes there's not a succession plan in place for another student or another student group to take over those programs. And I think that that's something to keep in mind, again, as the students come in and move out, that for programs that have been very successful and have a champion, that part of the role of that champion is to train their successors so that that program continues.
I can definitely testify to that. The interns that I mentioned, I have 4, and 3 of them graduated last year and have moved on. The 4th one was with us in the fall, but she is in a study abroad program this semester. So I have 3 new sustainable Spelman interns and have had to work to get them up to speed. And Ruth, who's studying abroad this semester, was very helpful with that in the fall. And they missed on some things, but they're very passionate about it and have worked hard to keep up to raise the bar back up to where their predecessors had.
Great. I think we're just about out of time, so there's probably only time for one more question, I think for both Art and Karen. We don't currently have anything related to the environment or in our strategic plan. Who, how, where do we even start? There were several questions like this.
Let me start with the kind of a generic answer, and then Art, I'll let you finish up with the specifics. You know, Art talked a lot about the focus group, and I think that's kind of the key, whether we call it a focus group or a cross-functional team that includes, again, the various parts of a campus, athletics, residence life, academics, facilities, etc., and look at it with the vision of this is what's right for the school, not necessarily what's right for my department or my division. And I think that's where you really start. And whether it's, you know, creating a focus group, bringing in a facilitator, you know, looking at the sustainability continuum, starting with some groundswell organizations that are on campus already, but again, just getting people together and getting them talking together and, you know, quite frankly, leaving their egos at the door and coming in and looking at this with a holistic approach. And Art, I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, I would agree with that you've got to get, you know, as she said, cross-functional teams, across representative of your entire campus, and find out who has a passion for it so that they can use that passion and influence others. And one of the successes I've seen, I was actually discussing this with my maintenance staff yesterday, making them aware of water use and energy efficiency issues, is to make it personal for them. If your staff and faculty in particular, they probably have a home and they pay utility bills. Help them understand how they can influence their own pocket by making their own homes more energy efficient and to recycle more there. And then they start to get it. They start to take it personal and then can help be an advocate for doing the same thing here on our campus home.
Great. We're about out of time, so I do want to thank everyone for attending that's on the webinar today. And I especially want to thank Art and Karen for sharing your expertise and knowledge with us and answering some questions. It's been really great. And for everyone else on the phone that's asked, we will be posting the slides and the presentation recording in the next couple of days, so look for that. And be sure to fill out the survey at the end of the presentation when we end it here. So thank you, everyone, and have a good day.